From the Arthur Outlaw Mobile Convention Center in Mobile, Alabama, the site of the National Fireworks Association Spring Expo 2022, this is the Fireworks Brigade. This Pyro podcast celebrating the people and the passion of fireworks is sponsored by Star Fireworks in Fargo, North Dakota. And now, here's Johnny Starr and Ron the Banker.
Hey, Steve.
Have some fruit, eat up a little bit, move some T-shirts around, whatever. Make some room here if you like.
What's up, Steve?
Steve is going to eat all the fruit. He says, I can't see that fruit go to waste. He's got to eat it. I do too. It looks good too. I haven't had it. I opted for the cookie, but the cookie just I don't know, didn't cut it for me. I should have just went with the fruit. No, I'm good.
John thinks he's a cookie connoisseur. He said the cookies aren't good.
Yeah, I think it's a hybrid chocolate chip. I think they put something else in there to how these new recipes are. They're not happy leaving it alone. They got to we'll just put our touch on it. Yeah. But you know what? It's okay because I like it. Hey, this is a great room, by the way, Steve. What a great event, I have to say. It's fantastic. Outside the air conditioner blowing in like crazy out there, but it really is. I love setting up in the hallway there. That was really nice. And this room is awesome. And weather's been great. I guess we're going to get a little rain tomorrow, maybe in the morning or afternoon. But
talked with some of the locals. They said by 2 o'clock it should be away.
Yeah, so that'll be good. So it shouldn't bother us at all.
Pick up the orange mic so we can hear you.
Yeah, Steve. He
for a sec.
Yeah, Steve.
Yeah, we want to hear you.
Told me to stop by, so I was just like, okay, I'm stopping by.
Yeah, Steve doesn't really want to talk to us, but we'll put him on to talk a little bit here.
Yeah.
Can you hear us, Steve? Are you on there?
Yeah.
Okay, good. So, anyways,
That's on.
so we got Mr. Steve Hauser, president of NFA, sitting here next to us, and that always makes us look really professional. When you sit down, people notice. They're like, with my background, they're like, either Johnny Starr's in trouble, going to get thrown out, or
it's not PGI.
Yeah. Oh, that's right. I get confused now. Okay.
No, not PGI.
Yeah. PGI always throws me out, but you guys always welcome me with open arms over here. But anyway, so what a really a great event. I do like this area, and I was telling Ron earlier the trip to the port was just really fascinating.
That was really neat.
Yeah, I mean I've been to several of them now because of this whole COVID thing, and did Long Beach and LA and stuff, but it was really nice to have a guided tour, and I thought it was going to be more of a walking tour, so that's why I was like, I better bundle up a little bit, but I was glad it was on the bus. It was perfect. I think, for people who aren't really in the know of the whole shipping and the whole logistics of everything, like I was telling Ron, I go, look at, as they're loading the front of the ship, they're unloading the back of the ship. It's just how they go down in a row like that. It's just fantastic. It really is.
It's very choreographed. I'll tell you what was amazing was, when we parked out there on the dock at the bow of the steamship.
Yeah.
And they were loading it, and you saw those guys operating those cranes.
Oh, yeah.
Man, that was like ballet. That was amazing.
Yeah.
They had that timed right. That thing would just swing out of the boat right onto the next one.
And he said the kids these days are good at that job because of their
video game
play. Yeah, because they've been playing video games and they got the hand-eye coordination.
And that's
down. That's unbelievable.
And that's how they drive these big yachts with that joystick, because they're used to that. You know what I mean?
Those guys. I don't know anything about it, but they have to get paid a pretty penny, right?
To
operate those cranes.
Yeah, the stevedores, and they get paid a really good buck.
What did you hear? What he said? When they load the deepest ones, they have to go 80 feet below the dock line.
Yeah. Right.
And on the far side of the boat, they can drop the container in there on the far side and be up, out, and picking up another one within 40 seconds.
Yeah.
That's unbelievable.
Yeah, it really is.
Yeah.
And then when I've been to the ports in Singapore, which is one of the largest, shipping ports, and oh my God, it's they and there, even in Hong Kong, just them big magnets, boom, the magnet drops on it, picks it up, and it's just really incredible. So, it was really good to see. That was really nice. And I think a lot of people really enjoyed it. From what I talked, they really enjoyed it. And,
I think that went over well.
Very well.
I mean, I'm telling you, we've had some really neat things going on here. I mean, yesterday we had to train the trainer course, and a new fellow taught the course for us this year. And he did a really good job. He had a different take on it. The people who went to that class really, really liked it. They said, we'd been to some of the others, but we had to get refreshed, and it was a nice new angle for them, so they got some more information, so that was good.
Mm-hmm.
And, we had the head of AFSL came in yesterday, and he gave a good talk. And, he talked a lot about the CPSC because he was there, for 10 years. And he had some really good information and put a lot of things in real good perspective, and I think, Jay Howell, that was him. I think he did a good job, and people took away some good information from that. And then the port tour today was really exciting. Tomorrow we've got a social media marketing thing
What time is that at?
1 o'clock.
Oh, okay.
It's to try to help navigate the world of social media marketing.
We got to sit in on that.
Yes, we will.
Relative to fireworks, which is kind of
Right.
tricky because, a lot of the search engines, they'll ban you or boot you off. They'll say, well, you can't have the word fireworks. You hear these stories about Facebook, and they won't let you put it on there because it's terrorism or something. I don't know. But so she's going to talk about that. She's with a firm out of Atlanta, and they also do like a lot of sports marketing for like major league teams and NFL teams, NBA teams.
Oh wow!
So I think that'll be really interesting as well.
It really is. When I first started off in the fireworks business, marketing was one of my fortes, and I love coming up with new ways of marketing and new different things. And it was, in a lot of ways, so much easier for me years ago. I was younger, and I knew, working my background with the newspaper all these years and radio and everything, it was fun for me. But a lot of the social media now I don't choose to use at my age and at, where I'm at in life. But it's definitely needed for the business. But since we don't use it, since I don't use it on a daily basis, it's hard for me to illustrate it in the business. So when I sit in on some of these meetings and geo-fencing and geo-tracking and the social media and the TikTok and the Instagrams that I don't really use, it's harder for me. So what I do is I sit in with a bunch of younger people who are really into it, and I'm like, does it sound good to you? Pitch it to them. Don't pitch it to me because it all sounds Greek to me, So
that's what my problem is too. I mean, I'm a little bit past the bell curve on the tech age, and but I want to go to it because I have a lot of customers that'll be asking me, things about that. So I'm looking at it to get kind of a general background education, and I'll probably hear some good ideas, and then be able to set up, like customers of mine to help them out and just say, hey, well, here's some ideas and here's someone you ought to go talk to.
Yeah, and that's what we want to sit down in it too, and just to kind of get some ideas. But yeah, I knew early on, I'm like, I got to hire some young kids to sit in on these meetings because I just don't get it, what I mean? And it's not like I don't want to learn it. It's just that without using it in my daily life, it's going to be very hard to use it once a year or twice a year during New Year's. And, and I always tell my girl that works for me, blow us up on Facebook and all that other stuff in the month of, April, May, and June, because that's when they're only listening to us. After that, they don't care less what happens to us. And then they tune in back again in November, for Christmas. So. But yeah, when I don't use it on a daily basis, it's really hard for me to get my point across to the workers. So it'll be an interesting meeting. But once again, there's so many great things at this expo. Like I said, if you saw a product out there, it's in stock. You can buy it. If you're looking for merchandise, it's here. So there's so in the tour. That was a free deal. I mean, how do you beat that?
No, yeah, I know. And I have a question about the tour. So. We were in the first bus. I think you were in the first bus with us, right?
Yes.
Yeah, the first one. Who was the gentleman that was conducting the tour? Who was that talking? Did he work for the port or work for the city?
He works for ASM, and ASM basically they're the people who would lease and be the administrators.
Is that
of
APM?
The port.
APM, isn't it, or ASM?
No, ASM. I think
ASM.
Is what it was.
Okay.
Yeah.
And. They're a global. He said, he made the comment how they have operations at ports all over the country. But Denson White was his name. I thought he did a great job narrating it. But
so, and he talked a lot, and and obviously it's his job to talk it up and make it sound good. So, and I know enough to be dangerous, but with the stuff that he was saying was it hyperbole, wishful thinking, or do you think that the Alabama can compete on a large scale.
I think the one thing that they understand they need to get more of is more rail links.
Right.
They need to get more outbound to more locations. He acknowledged that. He kept bringing up the fact about the Midwest.
Yeah.
And he mentioned, my home state, Missouri, regularly, because he knows that's where the fireworks central is.
Yeah.
I mean, when you look at the import companies, but no, a lot of what he was saying made absolutely perfect sense. And,
Right.
what was neat was, when he opened up the tour by talking about, that booth where the intake, and he said, hey, look at our port.
That's what I liked. I saw that.
We started in 2008. We started using tech, not bodies. And
Yes.
so we have tech implanted into this thing. So a lot of this stuff that in most ports you have to actually have bodies in. You said you're out at Long Beach.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so, a lot more bodies. And here, those trucks were flying through those things.
Yeah, and I was going to mention how fast they were
everywhere.
going through there, and no stopping, no clipboards, no looking at numbers, no walking around the trucks. I mean, all that takes time. I was amazed, and I saw that immediately when we started the tour. And I was going to mention, I just love the fact that it's all done on camera, all videotaped. It was just in, out, and even the leaving, even in the lanes leaving were fast.
The part of it that really excited me most from a practical standpoint is, you remember when he was talking about the bridge? He said, we're
Right.
building a bridge, and he says, well, the bridge with that, it's going to take us, like 2.5 minutes to get around here. We do the bridge, it only takes 30 seconds, so they save 2 minutes. Yeah, but more than that, they save a lot more than that because they're building a bridge on private property. They can build a bridge fast because they don't have to go through federal highway commissions and all that kind of stuff. But remember when he referred to those trailers that they were
Yes.
taking the containers in and out of on the boats? Notice they didn't have pins. They were kind of like boxes that they were up on the side, so it kind of held the container in there.
Yeah.
They can use those to move the containers directly to the rail. No need at all for separate tractor trailer and chassis systems.
Yes.
And if you have to
And
go
no CDL drivers.
if you have exactly because you're on private property, you
Yes.
never leave. So if you can do that, what you're saving is also the time of hooking and unhooking and then pinning and unpinning. So on a per container basis, you could theoretically save 20 minutes a can moving it, and you could literally drive it from the boat to the rail car if you were organized in that fashion. And I thought that was great.
Yeah.
The only thing that I told him he needed to do is they referred to those things as the bomb box
Oh, yes.
that they dropped them in. I said, well, now that you guys are handling explosives, you might want to change the
Yeah,
name.
change that one. Yeah, exactly.
You might want to get rid of that name, yeah.
But
So they've done one load of fireworks hazmat, right? And that was like their inaugural, and so they're hoping to do a lot
They've
more.
unloaded one ship. Was I believe 2 weeks ago, something like that, he said. And then they've got another one that's coming in about a week.
We got Ed here too, Ed Vasel, right?
is this Ron? I was going to say, look at this. I mean, we got two of the. We look like rock stars sitting with these two guys. I mean, see, I was telling Steve earlier, when Steve sits down, everyone starts noticing us. When they look at us talking, they're like, look at these two morons. What are they doing? They pretend they're airline pilots, but when Steve sits down, and then when you sit down,
a little bit of legitimacy.
Yeah.
We got the vice president and the president.
Yeah,
right
I mean,
here.
they're going to be like, people are waiting in line now to get on this microphone because they see, they see quality here.
Hopefully. It's a great podcast you guys are doing. You've been doing it for a while. Enjoy listening to them. Picking back up on the conversation, though, that first ship came in a week and a half ago. It had 200 firework containers on it.
Fantastic.
But I think there's another one kind of on its tail, supposed to be due in next week again, maybe. So.
Oh, okay.
It's
Well, like the tour guide said today, they have the infrastructure. They need the business like all of us. We can all get bigger if we have the business. And the more business we can give them, I think they'll grow a lot faster. It takes money to grow, and it takes business to grow, and they will grow if needed. So I'm hoping that it really works out for them because we got to get past this $40,000 or whatever it is hurdle. I mean, it's wrecking the multipliers, it's killing the industry, and it's going to get worse.
Will having this port make it cheaper?
Oh, sure, it will.
Just because there's more competition?
Yeah, supply and demand. Although we got more options, So
Ed doesn't agree.
well.
It's not-
Cheaper's a very relative term.
Well, right.
Some of the people who
it's not going to be overnight.
near
But
as familiar
yeah.
with the logistics process as most of us at this table. When will freight prices go back to where they were? They're not.
They're not.
We won't see that day.
Yeah.
You know, and I mean, has anybody seen a fuel surcharge yet? Because you would sure think that's.
That's already happening.
Is it? Have they already added that on there? I didn't know if those had been added or not. Cause that had to be very recent.
Well, inland freight's going to kill us. You know, inland freight's going to kill you now.
Yeah.
So.
I kind of came in the middle there, but it is pretty exciting what we saw today. I thought the port tour was a fantastic thing for the NFA members to get some real in-depth insight into the process involved.
Right.
So, you know, I hope they saw some value in that and helps them understand the process and creates.
And just don't blame us.
Right. Right. I mean,
well,
it can only
to an
help
extent,
to improve
yeah.
relationships across the board because everybody wants to blame somebody.
Yeah, exactly.
There's a whole lot of pieces to that logistics puzzle, and you know, and even Denson today with APM here in Mobile, you know, that's who manages the port there. You know, they kind of have their hands tied because of contracts that are written in China. You know, as to who's handling certain things even after they've been unloaded off the ships here.
Right.
So.
No, it was. I think, like I said, it was a great value to the members of the NFA. This has been it's a great convention, this one here, and I think hopefully it catches on and more people start to show up because there's a lot of value here. And if that was any other organization, you would have been paying for that tour.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
Most of those people on the bus, in a lifetime, they would not have a tour like that. They wouldn't.
Right.
They're not going to be there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Right.
So I think it was really beneficial, and I hope that they did it. I'm sure a lot of people got some value, and at least, like you say, there's a more better understanding instead of just pointing the fingers at us and saying, "Well, where's my container?" Well, we're in the same boat we're all in. You know.
Yeah.
So no, it was really good.
Yeah, well, it helped you appreciate the enormity of what it is and what it takes to just unload that stuff. And I can't imagine. I mean, Long Beach is 10 times bigger?
Yeah.
Well, it's probably more than 10 times bigger.
Is it?
It's about 25 to 30 times bigger. Yeah.
Johnny, you were out there.
Yeah.
I was
just the amount of acreage alone.
I was talking to a friend of mine that I've gotten to know out there at the port. This was, last year when we were doing all that port relief stuff. And one of the guys out there that I dealt a lot with, who was kind of one of the boots on the ground, where he was like in the connection. I mean, you could call him and he could tell you where a can was and he could get somebody to go deal with it. He just called me, last week, and I'd say, Thursday about. And he was just kind of, checking in. Hey, how you doing? I said, I'm good. He goes, what are you doing? How you handling your stuff? And we talked about that. And I said, well, how's things out on your neck of the world? How you doing? He goes, he goes, it's just the same old thing. He said last week, we moved 1.2 million TEUs. And we heard that term today.
Yep.
And he says normally when we would move, he goes, it used to be if we moved 800,000, we were like popping champagne because we reached some sort of massive milestone.
Yeah.
And he goes, now we hit 1.2 million, and we're just like, just keep swimming. We've got a lot more to go. They said it's not even a point of celebration. It's just, it's more like a wow. He says, because you look on the horizon and a lot of boats sitting out there.
Yeah, I know we got some report last week. It was like 66 or 65 that morning. We're still out there. So it's just, it's really a nightmare. But was it 1.2 million TEUs? So it's about 600,000 of our 40-footers, basically.
Yeah.
I don't think there's too many 20s on a ship anymore.
Yeah. No.
So it's about 600,000 containers. Yeah, it's pretty impressive.
Yeah, it's pretty unbelievable.
Yeah.
He said, there's 600,000 containers still out there? Is that what he said?
No. 1.2 million TEUs would be 600,000 40-foot containers.
Right.
That's what they moved in 1 week in Long Beach, you were saying, right?
Yeah. Oh, that's what they moved in 1 week.
That's what they moved
in
in,
Long Beach.
So,
that's
putting
incredible.
putting it for the people, at home, it's 600,000 containers, basically.
Right.
Right. So,
Unfortunately, when we toured the port today, that was a pretty small ship by comparison.
Oh, my God.
What do you say? It was a 4,500 TEU ship, and they can take up to 14,000 here in Mobile. So that was a small ship even by Mobile standards.
Yeah, and then up to 18,000 once they dread the canal, I imagine.
Right. I was surprised to see how much depth those ships required. I didn't realize that the bigger ships, there's 65 feet under the water.
Yep.
That's deceiving.
It's really incredible. I mean, and when I've taken my boat across from Racine, Wisconsin, over to Saugatuck, Michigan, which is almost directly across.
How many TEU is your boat, John?
Yeah. Well, I think there's another term that's on the boat of mine. But anyways, it starts with a T. But anyway, but so you see these big freighters out there in the middle, and when they're out there, you're looking at them like, are they going? Which way are they going? Because you really, when they're moving so slow, but you're getting closer. It's like, are they going that way? Or are they going this way? I'm like, well, the pilot house is always in the back, so you got to remember that. But it really is interesting when you see them out there in the middle of the lake there, and it's like unbelievable.
Yeah.
But that was really good, and it looked like all the booths were really busy today. I mean, it seemed like everybody was humping and talking to a lot of people. And
well, I'll tell you, my feet hurt.
Yeah.
I haven't heard from a single person that's not happy that they decided to come here.
Good. That's what we want to hear.
As far as either from the vendor side or from the people who are strictly here looking to purchase and make new contacts.
Yeah.
Right.
No,
and this has turned out to be real nice. I mean, the setup's nice.
Oh.
It's a nice,
great
homey,
location.
close-in feel. We're back to the afterglow. We were talking last night. We were sitting
so
around.
important.
Some of the members, some of the older ones, we've been around for a while, and we were just kind of like, this is nice. We're all sitting in a big room, and we're all chatting, just like the old days.
Yeah, no, so important to have these.
Yeah.
It really is.
Normally, you don't want background noise for a podcast, but I hope this comes through. I mean,
absolutely.
This room is full of people.
This is why we like to set up here.
The food here is fantastic.
Right.
Both nights that we've been in here so far.
Said the same thing. I mean, the afterglow is great. And I was just thinking to myself as I sat down, thinking about, I remember sitting at the table with Bobby Blake and Jerry Gasper and a whole bunch of others that, have passed on, but how we just really enjoyed the afterglow and everyone. And, of course, when the Chinese are able to come back and you got, 300 people in a room, I mean, it's just fantastic. So I'm really happy to see the afterglows come back.
Yeah.
It's important to keep those things alive, right, and keep the traditions alive and stuff. John and I started talking on the podcast like memories or things that you can't get anymore, talking about how certain things just go away, and you can't do it anymore. So he's been telling old stories about different fireworks stories about stuff that happens in China and stuff, and we've been getting a kick out of it. Talking some banker stories too, Steve.
Oh, banker stories.
Some old banker stories, like the stripper coming in to do a dance for the chairman of the board, going in the office and shutting the door and the curtains.
No,
and stuff.
we didn't do that.
That stuff don't happen. That stuff just
bank
don't happen.
Do you
anymore.
work at?
It was a long time ago.
Actually, I remember the days
Banking of ill repute.
Back in the day, you used to see bankers, and they'd be walking around the lobby of the bank with a cocktail in their hand. And they'd be out there just chumming it up with people and chit-chatting and everything. And, of course, when I was a little kid, I was like, boy, this is a good job.
Right, yeah.
But, not anymore.
Steve, I don't know, I kind of came in a few minutes late here. Did you guys get into any of the other things that we've got going on with the NFA as far as, did you have a chance to mention committees or anything like that? Some things
we haven't talked about that.
Things that have changed over the last, where we came from, where we're going. We've got a really cohesive board of directors, I feel like now. I think I'm the newest member on the board in my second year, I guess up for election this year.
Uh-oh.
Yep, you are.
In September,
You're not nervous.
Yeah.
You're not nervous.
Don't be nervous.
Don't be nervous.
Am I sweating?
Nope, not at all.
Cool and calm.
But yeah, so we formed. We wanted to get more member involvement. We want to feel like we are transparent, approachable. I mean, this is an organization of members. Any one of these people in this room could step up and run for a board position this fall.
Right.
But they don't have to be on the board to have a voice or to be heard. So we wanted to, one of our ways of reaching out was identifying members, looking for people who were willing to volunteer and spend some time. So we've probably got, I think, close to 20 people on 3 different committees now that we're having bi-monthly meetings. Steve is heading up our governance committee. And I'll name the 3 of them, and he can speak on his, and I'll speak on mine. I'm heading up a membership committee, and Bob Kellner is heading up a financial committee.
Okay.
And there's a few of our community members committee members here today, and we've already decided we're going to have a meeting as soon as we can after this convention while it's fresh in our minds. And what can we do, get written down on paper to make things better going forward for the membership. And tomorrow's seminar I'm pretty excited about came about because of the committees and reached out to the members. We actually hired Nisha Kayap, I believe. I hope I pronounced her name right. But almost everybody at this convention, I think, could benefit from going in there because we're all trying to sell something. And she's doing a seminar on social media marketing. Yeah. And we prepped her because one of the issues in this industry, and it doesn't matter if you've got one small stand here in Alabama or if you've got 100 brick and mortars, you've got to advertise. You've got to put yourself out there. Right. You've got to market yourself if you want to sell product and hope to grow in any capacity. So we prepped her by letting her know, don't come in here and tell us buy ads on Facebook, advertise on Google, because this industry is kind of blacklisted on a lot of those platforms. Yes. Right. So we're interested to hear what she's got to say, and we hope that's another big beneficial thing for the members that are here with us this week. Yeah. And then, Steve, if you want to talk about the governance committee a little bit.
Do you record that at all, or do you save it and put it on your
Should be
website?
Recorded.
Video?
No? You start getting into that, and you've got somebody coming from a business that does this, so she's probably got some proprietary information there.
Yeah, that's true too. Yeah,
you go out and do that, and
it's a benefit for the members that paid for their Expo ticket and traveled here to join us this week.
That's right.
Yeah. So many benefits this year, especially. Obviously the first one we did was right before COVID, during COVID, basically, so we couldn't can't count that, but really this is a big benefit to the members. This convention, it's more. Spring, I call it more of a boutique convention. We really get a chance to talk to people one on one and spend some actual quality time with your customers at the booth, and look at all the benefits between the tour and tomorrow's seminar.
You can have a lot more. I don't know what is the best word for it, intimate conversations with people because you're not so flooded or overloaded, at a convention where it's, it's just a train of people coming by and you're just kind of like, hey, hi, how are you? And we'll talk later. And sometimes you never get a chance to.
And that is that's what me and Ron said about the first convention. We drank bourbon with AJ. We sat here and talked to you. It was more because there wasn't that many people that we all got to sit around and finally talk amongst ourselves for a change, and which is really important. So I like this one here in April, really not in March.
So what does the governance committee do?
Well, we technically call ourselves the Government Affairs Committee.
Oh, okay.
So it's comprised of myself and 5 other members, representing, both, the B realm of fireworks as well as the consumer realm. We're focused on, things going on in government, policy changes, things that are going on with regulatory bodies, how to address them, what battles need to be fought, where do we think we can try to bring industry alignment together with, all of us, and we're really working on that. So we've got, between the members, right now what we're doing is we're looking at some DOT things that are going on relative to 87-1.
What's 87?
80. C. C and a little bit of A. Yeah. Because those are some topics, and so we're looking at that. DOT has reached out to us, so we're in that conversation. So we're discussing that. We're also working on the professional side with some ATF issues regarding employee possession questionnaires and the way they're going to treat personal medical information. There's some concern on the professional side that the way this thing reads, that, and the ATF, frankly, has pretty much already done it. But, the way it reads, and the concern is the way this thing reads is they can release your information to any public entity or person they wanted to. And that's your medical records. And so there's concern in that industry that will discourage people from becoming employees. So that could create an employment problem, on the B side. So it doesn't have to always be with regulatory changes that affect the industry because of rules, but it also can be side effects of rules. So we're looking at that. We've got a couple more topics we're going to be following up next week. We're also working on the disposal of hazardous materials. Okay. And, one of the things that has been brought to light in the committee, because we've got a couple of gentlemen on the committee that one is an attorney, the other one has an attorney-type background. They're very familiar with fireworks. And, we've always talked about what happens, if the CPSC was, they come in and they say, hey, this is a bad item and it's failed. And if you want to try to get rid of it through a hazardous material service, it's cost prohibitive.
Very expensive, yes.
It could bankrupt, a small company. I mean, it could be just literally a blow. I mean, you're talking $50,000, $60,000, $70,000 if it happens a few times, hundreds of thousands of dollars just to get rid of it.
Yeah.
And you may only have $25,000 in it. And a lot of the problem that we've discovered is that a lot of the Department of Natural Resources folks, the EPA folks and stuff, they look at this stuff and they say, oh, it's hazardous waste. But you know what? It is not hazardous waste. Fireworks do not qualify as hazardous waste. They do not meet the chemical testing that is, for the ingredients that qualify it as hazardous waste. So under the statutes and under the laws and how they read, it's been always assumed. And most of us even were like, well, we would call it hazardous waste too, right?
Yeah.
Right.
But it's not. It doesn't meet that standard. So it's getting it off that to say, okay, we're not disposing of hazardous waste because that's where the EPA comes in. We're disposing of a hazardous material class product, but it is not hazardous waste. So we're going down the line of that to try to bring that into particular, like, in my state of Missouri, DNR is the Department of Natural Resources is pretty much who has the final say, because I had some stuff that failed, some smoke items. Lots of people had smoke items fail last year. So I contact the fire department. CPSC says, yeah, you can burn it. The fire department's cool with that. They'll sign off on it. The fire department would witness that it was good and everything was done properly. So I called the fire department. I said, hey, CPSC's fine with doing this. Can you come out to my place and we're just going to light a bunch of smoke? Normally I don't want to sit there and light 400 cases worth of, one by one by one. So I'm going to kind of throw them in a barrel and burn a few at a time, a case at a time, right?
Yeah.
And they said, well, that's going to get into the DNR because that's hazardous waste.
And this is new. That never used to be the case.
Yeah, this is really breaking right here. And so now, we're armed with the information of no, it is not hazardous waste. And the assumption was they were assuming, DNR is assuming, I assumed they knew what they were doing. Now we come to find out, guess what? It's not, and none of us knew what we were doing. So let's get the record straight and let's figure out a way to do this, because this has been a problem that's plagued the industry for a long time. And Ed, I know you've talked about it a lot too.
Well, yeah, this was one of the first things when I came on the board that I had mentioned, that I'd be willing to take on a project to kind of try and stay ahead of this before new laws get passed on how to handle it. I think the big problem right now is there is nothing documented on how to handle this stuff.
Right.
And Missouri's always been friendly, but there are some states who for years have said, no, the fire marshal's not familiar with the process. A lot of smaller rural fire marshals, AHJs, may not be comfortable wanting to deal with the federal government at the CPSC level, so in some states they have not been comfortable doing this.
They don't want to be involved.
And so, like Steve talked, they're forced to ship this stuff at a great cost and have it destroyed by just a handful of companies that are licensed to do that, when in fact the best way to get rid of the stuff is to use it as it was intended. And if the local fire marshals want to sign off on it, the CPSC in almost all cases has been okay with that. We don't want the DNR or the EPA coming in and doing something, because we've got a liaison to the NFPA on one of our committees, and he gave me some stats that were just mind-boggling. There's basically some Superfund sites around the country where this stuff has been shipped, and for one reason or another, whether it was tied up in a court case or whatever, there's millions of pounds of stuff sitting in containers that the floors are probably rotting out of. Now the stuff's leaching into the ground. That's how you create problems.
Yeah. Right.
Stuff comes in, it gets failed within 30 days. Have the fire marshal come out, shoot the stuff in a field, burn it in a barrel, something like that, sign off. It cannot re-enter the stream of commerce, and that is the CPSC's main concern there.
Right.
Yeah. So we are, we would love, as the NFA, to be an integral part of creating a document that is a guideline. There's just nothing out there right now, so nobody really knows how to handle it. So we want to make sure that we at least have a voice and steering how that ends up.
And before things get changed.
Right.
Yeah. And then one other thing that the government relations committee is working on is trying to develop a safety program, drawing on what the NFA did with the CPSC this past last July of 21 with the safety message.
Yep.
And trying to bridge that gap between the regulatory agencies and the industry to try to say, hey, let's band together and let's come out with some real concrete good ideas, particularly revolving around education.
Yeah.
Because, if you look at all the statistics, a lot of the injuries, there's injuries, there's deaths. But when you look at the statistics on those deaths, they're from misuse. And misuse is education. Yeah. And working on ways to get everybody banded together to create a message on that, create a program, draw on the strengths that we've established, and promote that. Because if we can if we can't get on the common ground in safety, are you kidding me?
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, really?
Should all be able to agree on safety.
Yeah, I mean,
absolutely.
So
right.
But a lot of fun things. Ed, I'm glad you actually brought up those committees because that's important.
And before we move on to whatever else we're going to, kind of breaking news, I guess, here on the podcast, we've known for a while, but probably just a handful of people, unless you took the class the other day. And I'll preface it by saying Tom Dunaway was a great service. He did a great job for the NFA for a lot of years as our DOT guy. But we have hired Art Fleener as our new consultant, and he is freshly retired from the DOT.
Oh, wow.
And the people that took his class yesterday, the best comment I got is we're glad he retired because he's good.
Yeah.
And I talked to Art on his way out after the class and, just told him we want to make sure that we've got a good contact that can reach out to us or directly with you for our membership to help them navigate that part of their business as well. So we have a new representative for DOT issues who's very fresh.
Yeah, they were thankful that Art had retired out of the DOT and decided to move to the private sector.
Yeah. But it's obvious you guys are always doing something to make it worthwhile for the members and just to increase the value of what you guys got going on here. There's always something good, always something new going on. So, yeah.
Well, I mean, that's something Ed, had mentioned. He goes, we need to do a better job as a board of, communicating to people what they're getting. The value.
Right.
This isn't an annual cocktail party.
Yeah, I think too many people thought the NFA was an annual trade show. That's what the NFA was.
Yeah. Right. You didn't have any idea what else you did.
This is a real thing. I mean, it's a living, breathing thing that it changes and we're doing new things. And we're putting new roots in the ground, and that's good.
And that's what we kind of tried to stress on the podcast as well, ever since we started doing the medals and fireworks. I mean, and I've had conversations with a lot of Chinese companies. And at the end of my conversation with them in China, be like, well, are you an APA member or NFA member? And then, well, no, or yes, or both. I'm like, well, you gotta pick a side, and you gotta support us because we're the ones that support you. And I think the members, especially after the 9 on the boards and the medals and the fireworks, they gotta realize that NFA is really there for them. And I really think they're finally starting to get the message. It's just not we're going to go here and light off some fireworks and see some demos. This is our voice. In Washington, that many of these people in this room don't even really. I think they're starting to realize it now, but they didn't realize it before. And so I think it's really good.
And perception is reality. If nobody knows what you guys are doing, you might as well not be doing it, right? So you got to let people know.
Yep.
Right.
Yeah.
When I first came on, it was in the spring, getting ready to go into 4th of July season, and everybody in here has got other things going on. We're all here as volunteers and trying to do a service for the members, but Steve was fielding a lot of calls, but I mean, you would get calls from, I don't know who they were, from CNN or the Washington Post, all these journalists wanting to do stories, looking for statistics and things like that. And so, we do as good a job as possible as getting accurate information out there to keep fireworks in a positive light.
And you guys both had demos tonight, right? We had Red Rhino,
and
then we had Dominator. Ed's from Dominator, and Red Rhino is Steve. And I was watching the demo, and I noticed one thing, and maybe I'm wrong, but It seemed like there was a lot of orange. Is that a new color, or is that newer, or has it been around for a while? Is it just brighter now, or?
No, I mean I love the color orange.
Yeah, somebody had orange and pink. Who's
That's
was
why
that?
we gave you the orange microphone.
I even got the orange microphone.
Yeah.
Orange and pink.
Was
yeah,
that yours?
that was mine.
That was
yeah.
a Red Rhino. What was that
Yeah.
one called again? I forgot.
That was Supercharged.
Supercharged. Yeah.
Yeah.
That was a
No,
great looking effect.
Yeah, I mean, the colors. Let's be honest. I mean, in all classes of fireworks, and Ed, I think you agree. I mean, the capacity for great colors is really just.
Oh yeah.
Oh, I would say over the past 5 years, it has exponentially increased. What we as an industry called neon 5 years ago
No, it's just
was
normal.
a joke compared to what we call
Compared to now.
neon today.
Yes.
I mean, when you
Yeah.
see some of those
It
colors.
originally was a marketing word.
Yeah,
you
yeah,
know,
yeah.
But
exactly
it belongs
was.
now. It has earned its.
Yeah. I mean,
like self-fulfilling
it's-
prophecy. It came true.
It used to be like, when you were a kid and you first went to school, you got the 12 crayon box.
right.
Yeah.
And that's what we had, And then you remember when that one kid came to class and he had the 144 crayon box with the sharpener
Right,
built
right.
into the back of it,
Right.
and you were like, "That's the rich kid."
Yeah, that was
That's
Ron.
you
That
know,
was Ron.
Johnny always.
Yeah, that was Ron. Ron had all that.
Ron had that big
Yeah.
that big
Built-in
crayon box.
sharpener. Yeah.
And everybody was envious because we were just like, man, I got like gray.
Johnny stole it, but Ron had it
You know?
originally.
I was like, I have blue. He has 5 blues.
Yeah,
his,
Yeah.
Well, we're there. I mean, we're the 144 crayon box now with
Yeah.
with the sharpener,
Yeah.
and the colors are just really good, consistent. They've figured it out. And you're seeing the market really strive for those kind of things, and I think that's how you're seeing the quality manufacturers, quality importers. That's what they're doing.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, you want to have a nice package at the
Oh,
end
yeah.
of the day. You want to have the full, well-rounded thing, and yeah, I mean it just. But yeah, I mean I like orange.
You know what? It
I
was
think
great.
It's
I thought it
bright
was
color.
To me, it just stood out tonight for
Well,
some
it's-
reason. I was like, man,
It's that pink and orange thing. I mean,
Maybe it was
yeah,
the pink and the orange.
I stumbled into that thing because I was at a factory over in China back when you could go to factories
Yeah,
in China,
yeah.
right? It was probably about 2016, and this factory I was at, they had all these different colors, right? And they'd take you out there and they'd shoot stuff, and it was kind of like, it's kind of same old, same old. I said, I'll tell you what. I said, you got all these different color stars. Let's just mix them up. Just put random stuff together. Just whatever.
Yeah.
And just make one little shot of it. And let's just see what it looks like. And I said, just go crazy. Do whatever you want. We took them out, and they're shooting them. Boom. The one goes up orange and pink. And I was like,
that looks good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have ever thought put orange and pink in an insert, but it happened. So,
That was the best part about going to China, and that's what I missed the most.
Right. And John's pretty frustrated not going to
Oh,
China.
my God.
How you guys handling
yeah.
that?
Oh, hell.
I miss the spicy cauliflower.
Yeah.
It's frustrating,
Yeah.
because you like to have that personal connection with your product.
Yeah.
I think that's what it is.
Yeah, I know that's what's killing John.
And you don't get to have that. I mean, yes, I've got office over there, I've got staff over there, but it's not the same. You feel a level removed, and now stuff comes over, and I can't pick something on a video.
I can't either.
I got to do it
It's-
live, and
yeah.
I can't trust somebody else to just do the full picking. So I have to have samples shipped over, and then I
Yeah.
got to shoot them, and then I got to pick them from that standpoint. The one thing that you miss with doing, and you can pick stuff, but what you miss is a lot of times you get to go over there, and they'll shoot something, and you'll say, you know what? I liked that one thing in that one, but I want you to put that with this.
Yeah, I've done that.
And then
for
I'm going to come
years.
back in 2 days, and we're going to pop that, and that's usually something you buy.
Yeah, you're usually watching a demo of samples from one
Yeah.
company at a time or something, and I like the first half of that cake and the second half of that cake. Well, that's pretty easy to come
Well,
up
it's
with
like
your
that
own
cut and
thing.
spinning chrysanthemums that you had in a couple cases. I forgot what you called it. Some people call it spinning chrysanthemums.
Jellyfish.
Jellyfish,
Another common name.
I mean,
Chrysanthemum
yeah.
shuttles.
Yeah, I had that effect in a cake. I saw it, over 10 years ago, and I said, you know what? I want a cake with all that effect. Because I'm going to use that in displays. I want that, and it sold like crazy. You couldn't get enough on the shelf because I said this one particular cake is going to be different than all the rest of them in this whole building.
And just like the colors, it's not just the colors, the effects. That's you never used to see a long duration effect in consumer fireworks.
Never.
That was always something you saw in 4, 5, 6 inch, 1.3 shells at pro displays. But I mean, look at the hang time.
I was just going to say, look at the hang time.
Consumer now, and then that jellyfish effect, another long duration. Some of these falling leaves, you're getting 5-second hang time on falling leaves in consumer fireworks.
Multiple color changing stars.
And aside from.
Really?
Oh yeah. I saw. I don't remember who shot it, but it was last night or tonight. But they shot a really nice color changing.
Yeah. Like I say, and the between the pricing and the freight, and then not going to China, I'm losing that passion, and I feel it. I know it. And like I say, I'm not a video guy. I've hired people now to watch videos for me and then report back to me what they think are the best videos, so I don't have to sit there and watch.
Real first world problems, John.
Yeah,
Johnny's hiring guys to watch videos.
Yeah, I mean, because how am I going to do it? I'm going to be off in Cabo making coffee pretty soon.
Well, but I think I don't want to throw water on your, not feeling like you're into it anymore.
Yeah.
But it's still a way. I find it a little exciting in this regard. Okay, we had our system. That's how we operated. Now we're going to create a new system, and we're going to see how we can make that work. So you're still creating, you're still making something new. You're doing it through a different methodology.
Yes.
So that's still exciting. And frankly, I mean, look at the effects. I mean, they're just there's so much cool stuff out there.
Yeah.
I mean,
I just feel it could be cooler if I was over there to change it.
And I think, well, hey, everything in due time.
It will, yeah. I'm hoping October.
Rome wasn't built in a day.
Yep.
But
John just likes travel.
It's take the challenges that are at you, solve the problem, fix it, move on, continue to deliver the great product, and I think that's what the industry's doing.
Well, everyone in this industry has always done that. I mean, in our life, in our industry, we're used to, face these problems head on and move on. And I think that's one of the things that go with this industry.
I had a guy tell me, this okay, you podcast guys, here, why don't you figure this one out for me? We talked about this before, but we've round circled now. Fireworks, a fellow told me one time when I was on the B side, because that's how I got into fireworks. We were at a display site, and I was running this B company. I had 150 shows going off on the same day.
Oh, wow.
And so I'd been on a shoot site for 3 days because we were doing 3 days worth of shows. And while I'm there, I'm constantly on the phone, nowhere near the E-match.
Yeah, of course you weren't.
Remember all those rumors? You turn your phone on, the whole site's going to blow up.
Of course you weren't.
Never did. But on this particular day, it was very distressing to me because we had a number of hiccups, and a CDL driver, he had blowout on the highway. Another guy, he got to his shoot site and somehow they'd mispacked the truck and he had all these 5-inch shells and he couldn't even shoot 5-inch shells. And then the worst case was we had one guy on a site and he was doing something he shouldn't have, and he blew up the truck.
Wow.
And so the show went up and blew up the truck. Now, fortunately, the man was okay, and that's the most important thing always. But I was fit to be tied. I had no sleep. I was tired. I was about to take my cell phone and just smash it into the ground. And he goes, Steve, and he was an older gentleman, and I'd shot with him for many years. And he said, Steve, he goes, it's just fireworks. I said, Gary, what do you mean? I said, you're talking nonsense. What do you mean? He goes, it's just fireworks, man. He goes, I've been doing this for 25 years. He goes, I know one thing. He says, well, I know two, but I know the answer to one for sure. He says, fireworks is an acronym. It's an acronym. And I said, okay, Gary, indulge me, whatever. Just go ahead, And he goes, I know it's an acronym. And he goes, and it means... He goes, you have to figure out the words that go with the letters that communicate this message. He goes, that's the part I don't know. He goes, but the message is, everything goes sideways at the last minute, but you figure it out, you conquer it, you persevere, and you pull it off. He goes, that's fireworks. He said, if you figure out the words that go to those letters that communicate that message, he goes, you have solved the riddle of fireworks. I still haven't figured out the letters.
I was going to say, have you done that yet? No. Okay.
No, I'm too busy with the NFA.
No, there you go.
There you go.
Oh, we need that.
All right, John, that's homework for you. Try and figure that one out.
All right, I'll put that on my list.
A big topic here this week is, but we mentioned earlier, when will shipping prices go down? Well, they'll never go back. I don't think they're close to where they were.
No.
I mean, they know the people setting these prices are saying, well, hey, they're still in business. They're paying these prices, so that's going to be a.
Well, we're gonna see a big thing after this year. Like I told Steve. We're not going to see fireworks go up, but I don't know if we're going to see freight go down that much, but we're going to see. There's going to be a lot of changes. There's going to be a lot of changes, and everything is supply and demand, and we're just going to see how much supply is left after this year. And quite frankly, with the pricing and everything like that, the budgets people have, I don't know. It's going to be a change.
This could very likely be the year that we find out what the consumer is willing to pay. We know. It's not secret. The average ticket, and it varies by region, but the average retail ticket is somewhere between $70 and $120 is what the average consumer spends in a retail setting.
Yeah.
Okay.
70% of that is on credit cards, so we're down to 30% cash in the industry now. These are averages. I don't know how that aligns with what you guys are doing.
That's about right.
Yeah.
But look, I mean, there was stats put out last year that said COVID almost did double consumer fireworks sales. All the big town displays got canceled, public events weren't happening. So what people do? They went out and bought pork steaks, beverages, and some fireworks, and they had fun in their own backyard.
Right.
The fireworks sales didn't double because people spent twice as much money. There's a legit whole new crop of firework fanatics out there now.
Right.
And so it's really unfortunate timing that happened.
You lost the momentum. Right.
And then here we go with probable sticker shock coming up this fall.
Right.
And for our members, we're not, even so much worried about that, but I've been trying to educate people talking to them today because some of the people here at this convention are some of the smaller mom and pop businesses that are here looking to purchase from wholesalers who have the stuff in stock now.
Yeah.
But you talk about an innovative industry, some of the stuff that we shot tonight, we've got just for instance, 24-shot 5-inch canister shell kit that is 45% less CBM than the standard 424s that we've been seeing come over for a decade.
So you
talk about being able to reduce your CBM 45% on some items. That's one way that just innovation between the importers here talking to the factories like you guys were talking about and the suppliers in China. Well, that's one thing that's happening.
So how do you do that? Is it the packaging or the?
It's the packaging. It's all we've been shipping so much air for so long, and you guys that are selling it here are going to have to put a little more work into educating the consumers because
it does. It looks smaller on the shelf,
exactly.
But
I mean,
it's the same thing.
You put the exact 10-shot items next to each other on the shelf, but you put one in a bigger box. Even if it was a couple dollars more expensive, they're going to buy that bigger one every time. Historically,
right, but it's just air.
But exactly.
Not now though.
This is the year that lower cost item.
Well,
is
it finds a way, right? You find a way to
American
adapt.
families are going to feel it in their gas tank. They're going to feel it in their refrigerator this year. And fireworks are not a necessity.
Yeah.
Well, I'm going to interject there. I'm still more positive on it. Fireworks aren't a necessity. That's correct. But fireworks are a once-a-year indulgence for many, many people.
Right.
Yes.
And when you have a once a year, and I don't know. I mean, hey, have you gone on vacation lately? Okay. Well, if you do, you're going to realize that you went on vacation for 3 or 4 days and you spent $4,000 or $5,000.
Right.
And then you're going to go, whoa.
Yeah.
Now I know why I don't go on vacation very often. I do it because I don't have time. But you go, dang, that was a number. And I think you're going to have people. Yes, I mean I'm not debating the fact that it is a real thing and it's conservative. I mean, it's concerning, excuse me, but I'm a little more optimistic because I do believe that once a year indulgence, and with gas prices, what we saw the last time when we had these gas prices, people didn't go on vacation, they had staycations and they bought fireworks.
Yeah,
and you know what?
True.
Even if so you don't go on vacation, even though fireworks cost a lot more, if you go on vacation, you're going to spend $4,000 or $5,000. Even if you stay at home, even if fireworks are more expensive, you spend $1,000 or $2,000.
I think that was where that word staycation started getting thrown. That's the first time I heard it. Was 2008 when gas hit $4 a gallon.
And even that too. Like I say, if you go on vacation, you're going to spend that much more too. The vacation that cost you $500 now is going to cost you $900 to $1,000. So everyone, I was going to go down to the Palm Beach Boat Show next week. It's $1,000 a ticket for airfare. I'm like, it's not worth it. I could drive to Florida if I had a little more time. You know what
I think is I think for people that like to, go out and eat all the time, that's going to go away.
Yes,
they're going to stop doing that. Okay, because that's something they do regularly, and they say, okay, if I don't do this, I can save so much money. Okay, but that once a year indulgence thing. That's the thing where they're like, I only do this once a year. I don't do this every week.
Right.
Yes.
And yes, it is a real thing. Inflation is a real thing. I mean, I'm a former banker. I mean, we can talk economics all night long, but that's too dry of a subject. We don't want to do that. But I think the thing about fireworks is it's a good psychology release. I think it's a happiness, it's a celebration. And, I think maybe the question isn't let's see how we can test. I think we're going to look and see how much people value their once a year, their indulgence. And yes, retailers are becoming smart. They're trimming margins. Wholesalers are trimming margins, and I think that's sometimes business cycles do that. And what you don't want to do is run your customers off because you're trying to maintain a margin that you had equivalency on 3 years ago. Guess what? It's a rough time right now. We all take a little bite of the bullet, and I think we keep the market strong. I'm still pretty optimistic about it.
Well, like I said,
really
we built that momentum up in 2020, and I said it then, this momentum should last a good 5 years in the industry. And unfortunately, we're sticker shocking them back. See, I used to get a lot of guys coming to the show, and I don't shoot them no more. I go see the big shows. I just let them do it. You know what I mean? And then when they came in, they really, it wasn't bad. The kids were nice, and they went to sleep early, and we had a good time in the backyard. We just don't want to sticker shock them back into the big shows. That's what we don't want to do. And that's what I'm most afraid of with the people who are on the fence until 2020, and then they're like, hey, this is really good. We don't want to shove them back to the big shows again.
Well, but if
I'm hoping we don't.
If you don't want to sticker shock them, then you're the guy that has the power to decide whether or not you're going to do that.
No, of course, but the bottom line is we have to make money. You got to stay in business.
There's no question.
Yeah.
But, lean times for everyone.
Oh, no. Yeah. But we have to stay in business, I've seen a lot of people do that and keep their margins so low, and a drought hits and you owe $400,000 out, you better have it in the bank. So, I like to take the bite of the bullet, but, I tell people all the time, listen, if I can't make any money, I shouldn't be in this business,
right.
And
well, there's that.
And you got to remember that,
Sure, absolutely.
And once you take a bite of the bullet, they want you to take 2 bites, 3 bites, just like our administration wants us to do now. We expect too much as Americans. Well, I'm sorry, but I don't agree with that. So we have to be careful, and like I say, when you add that formula in for the freight, and you look at those markups, if you don't sell that merchandise, you're at zero. You didn't make any money, especially in the wholesale industry. You know what I mean? If you don't sell a percentage of your product, you're at zero. So I mean, it's hard.
I think what Steve is saying, though, is we talk about it in the opening of every show. It says the people and passion of fireworks. I don't think and what Steve is saying is I don't think you can underestimate the people's passion for fireworks, and it's a once a year thing, and it's a tradition, and if people have to save on gas or save on vacations, they're probably not gonna they're still gonna spend the money on the fireworks because you gotta. It's that indulgence and that's that passion, and it's once a year.
That was a great thing to bring up, that word staycation, because that's exactly what happened in 07, 08. I don't remember what year it was, but people stayed home about fireworks. And look, even if things are down, let's say drastically, 30% would be crushing most of the time to be 30.
Right.
But if you've almost got to throw the last 2 years out, because if you're down 30% this year, you're still way up from where you were in 2019, right?
That's a very good point.
Yeah, we're not going to match 2020. I don't care. The stars were aligned. The money was there. People were making a lot of money. And So things changed, you know what I mean? So we're going to see what happens. But
well, this past Christmas season in the South, where they were already seeing the wholesale prices and the retail prices adjusted for these high container rates, because, a lot of the goods that came in, the container prices, jumped effectively in August.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, we went from July to August and we doubled.
Yeah.
I mean, it was ridiculous when you looked at your freight equivalency factors. I mean, it was like, oh, my Lord. Mm-hmm. And this past Christmas season in the Deep South, right where we are, best season ever.
Yeah, even farther east here on the Gulf Coast, the buyers or the sellers that I talked to said even the big 1-1 zipper cakes and the 3-inch 9-shots, they were still paying those prices, the adjusted pricing.
There you go. See?
Yeah,
but there is a limit. There is a threshold.
There's always a limit.
Right.
I mean, you're not going to sell a 3-inch 9-shot for $500.
And you make up some of that with the the decreased CBMs and all the other stuff that you can do, and maybe you bridge that gap and you meet in the middle somewhere.
Yeah.
Well, we've been shipping a lot of air, and quite frankly, a lot of these companies, like I mentioned, no names, but a lot of them came out with 9-shot racks, big boxes that were 2-inch tubes. I mean, there was no reason for that, but it was fooling the customer, but shipping a lot of air. Well, now they're not going to be doing that anymore. I mean,
That's right.
So, and the customer is going to, customer is going to see it.
But as long as it looks the same in the sky,
exactly.
They
right.
Yeah.
Just close your eyes and
Yeah. No, I mean, before they made it bigger to deceive people. Now they're going to make it smaller. So, and we got to educate the customers.
I mean, look at some of this stuff tonight at the demos. I mean, there were fireworks out there. We were shooting at basically the equivalent of a professional level major league ball field.
Yeah.
We were covering the field.
Yeah.
You are, yeah.
Yep.
Some of those willows were unbelievable.
Yeah, that 242 shot you guys shot. I didn't see the size of it, but
you didn't see and couldn't get that in consumer fireworks 5 years ago.
It's another one of those reduced CBM
Didn't exist.
items. We used to have a 220 shot zipper. Some of the real popular ones that were always coming in as 1-1s.
They shot one tonight at the demo, and I saw them like 242 shots, lower CBM, because those 1-1 cakes are great, but. You can't get that much money for them, So we're going to need to do something with them.
Yeah, the calculation on per CBM is just got so high that it's hard to ignore anymore.
Yeah, when you look at your price list and you see tanks, for I don't know what it is, $140 some or something for tanks, wholesale price, you're like, wow. I mean, but 67.
They're getting about ready to close down.
Oh, okay.
We do have an 11:30 cutoff.
Oh, okay. But $67.50 or something was the freight cost on a case of tanks. When you calculate the CBM.
No. The freight costs you more than the product.
Oh yeah. That's why
that's a real thing.
That's why everything has changed.
So what's going to happen is in those kind of instances with those items, what's going to happen is you're just going to start seeing products go away.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yep.
I mean, think of like cone fountains. For crying out loud.
Yeah.
You take like a 12-inch tall cone, and you calculate it out. I mean, 3/4 of the cost of the item has to do with the shipping.
And the cone is this big.
Yeah,
it
has to do with the necessary part of it.
Yeah, the necessary part. Yep.
Yeah, mm-hmm. So that gets into the whole fact of hey, we just got to change the way we mix this and how we market it.
Yep.
The problem is that the industry's got to cycle out of that stuff, because you can't take that same cone that everybody had always bought at that rate, shrink it down to 4 inches tall and say it's the same thing. I mean, good luck convincing people of that. We know it's a fact.
Yes.
But it's going to be a tough sell.
And how many times of course you can, if you got time to sit with some of the customers on the retail end, and we're all busy, but how many times I've sat there and said, trust me, it is small but mighty, and then they're like, no, I trust you, and
I almost feel like it's happened to. I think the fireworks industry, maybe as innovative as we are, I think we're maybe a little behind on that. I mean, go buy a bag of potato chips now and then go try to find one from 5 years ago in your pantry. Yeah. A lot of things have shrunk for the same reason.
Yep.
Shrinkflation, is that what the term was?
Yep.
We
talked about that before.
The potato chips are the 9 on the boards of the food world, right? You get 30% chips, and then they puff the bag with air and seal it, and it looks like a nice full bag.
Yeah.
Yep.
So there's that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Are you saying that we should put a disclaimer on there that says, weight sold by weight, not volume?
Yeah.
No, it's going to be interesting. But you know what? Like you say, we always move on. we're going to be here next year. We'll be doing the same thing, probably talking about the same items. But you know what? You gotta stay positive. It's just that sometimes I tell you what, when you're not on the ground floor in China, and you got all these things facing, you're watching videos, and you're up at 4 a.m. like I am talking to China. You're like, you know what? This is starting to get a little aggravating. At least for me, anyways. But
this is the part where Ron's like, yeah, I'm glad I'm a banker.
Oh yeah.
No. Yeah.
But
some days not so much.
Ed's company, my company, Johnny, your company. I mean, we're all working through the same things. So we're all working really hard.
Yep.
And we're going to deliver the product at the end of the day that's going to meet the market demand, and we're going to do it in a high quality way.
I think sometimes you just got to remind yourselves that you're in the entertainment industry. You're putting smiles on millions of Americans' faces.
Every time a kid walks in that store and looks and goes, oh, and his eyes just lights me up because they're looking, oh my God, they see such colors and the aisles are packed high and there's like, and
our forefathers came up with some great quotes for this. The pomp, the parade, and all these things. And if fireworks were to go away, what do we do for patriotism?
Right, exactly.
You fly a flag on your porch,
right?
Which I think everyone should make sure it's lit at night. But I mean, that's a huge hit. I mean, I think Americans are a little too resilient to even allow that to happen.
Yep, I hope so.
Yeah, I think you're right. The passion of the fireworks, it'll stick around.
Yeah. Yep.
So are we losing? I don't know. I stay away from the news as much as possible because it just deters me. But are we losing the fireworks in Mount Rushmore, or
I
not?
think it's the governor was trying to get it done and they wouldn't let her. The Parks Commission or whatever's the last thing I read.
So we're not going to have them this year. Yeah,
not at Mount Rushmore. No.
Okay.
They've said they might do it in Washington.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm just curious. Yeah.
So
alrighty.
Politics killing fireworks.
Yeah, that might be political there.
Yeah. Well, just undo whatever anyone else did. So I think that's a new, undo the pipeline, undo the fireworks, undo the permets. Yeah,
undo the gas, undo the fuel, undo fuel independence. I mean, why would we want to be independent with fuel? Because no superpower.
I think there was a Seinfeld episode. I should just live my life opposite. I think that's what they woke up one day and let's just live our life opposite, and then we'll be fine. So. That's working for us.
Let's remind everyone, if they couldn't make it here for the Spring Expo, the Fall Expo for NFA in September.
Kingsport, Tennessee.
Yeah, there you go. So if you didn't make it out here, make sure to make it there.
Very close to the Smoky Mountains, so beautiful country.
Yeah, and can we tell them, when registration starts? They'll hear it here first, possibly, or do we want to announce that ourselves?
Well, we decided in our board meeting
May 2nd and
a Monday, and we're making a change.
More feedback from our members. We are going to start registration when?
At noon p.m. Eastern Standard Time.
Give Dino more
on
chance
May
to
the 2nd.
During business hours here in the U.S.
Yeah,
there you go.
So gone
at midnight.
Gone or the days of staying up till midnight to get registered.
Dino could never register. You couldn't get registered
for the demo. For the
demos, not just to come.
Yeah, the demos in the fall are very popular.
Well,
traditionally within, I think in some years within less than 4 hours, the demo spots were filled, and you were put on a waiting list.
In 1 hour, Dino would be like, I don't believe I missed it. I'm like, Eastern time, Dino. 2 words. Eastern. I was like, I'm like,
So it's going to be 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. May the 2nd is when the vendor registrations will open up.
Can I say, without hurting anyone's feelings, let the Chinese people stay up all night long. I've been doing it for the last 2 years.
Well, it's nothing personal. It's just, like I said, it was member feedback. And, we...
Why are we, it was, great for them. It was in their business hours, but what about us? I mean, so.
And since you mentioned that's been a big conversation with us, too. They can't travel.
Yeah.
Just as much as we talk about missing the afterglows and glad to see that back, we'd all love to see them back. So we are constantly having conversations on how can we help our members keep that connection.
Yes.
How can we make them still feel like they're a part of the organization?
Because we want them to be.
And video conferencing them into a screen on the back wall of a booth, that doesn't work.
No.
That's not.
You
can reach out and Skype your suppliers anytime you want.
Anytime you want.
Your people. So that's not a benefit at the convention for them. So we're looking for ideas and ways to bring people together, literally.
Yeah.
Yep.
No, I think it's you know what, we're all doing a great job, I think, and that's
Yep.
everything. Yeah, we're gonna have to wrap it up. I feel bad for you guys though. You guys came in and talked to like a bunch of members, and you wind up talking to us too, and now all of our members left. So that's what we do.
Here we are. Too bad we don't have a camera on this. You got 4 guys sitting at a table alone.
Yeah.
Well, there's some guys over there at the other side.
Drinking water.
Drinking water.
So this was the old Chinese trick back in the late 90s. Lock up your supplier all day long, give them breakfast, give them lunch, take them around, take them to factories, get them lost in the, out in Luoyang somewhere, and then you wear them out so much that nobody else can see them. So we did the same thing to you guys. We got you over and we wouldn't let you go, and now you guys lost all your contacts. They're all left you.
Thanks, Johnny.
We didn't do it on purpose, though.
Well, I was about to say, I look forward to talking to you again tomorrow night, but you put in that kind of a perspective. I don't know.
We don't want you to lose any business. We don't want you to lose any business, Steve.
We'll be here tomorrow.
Good.
We'll be
all
here
good.
tomorrow night.
Yeah,
thank you
for doing
guys.
what you guys do.
Yep, it's
I
fantastic.
appreciate it.
Thank you,
Yep,
guys.
see you tomorrow.
See you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Oh God, yeah. What's the difference? Hey, you know what? We enjoy doing it. And that's fun.